the field here in 2024.
Yeah, it's part of this evolution that Florida State has gone through this last third year for Brian Pensky. Now, they've seen a little bit of the old kind of guard in the last couple games where they've brought it up from the back a little bit. Addie Todd's been the old kind of guard in the last couple games where they've brought it up from the back a little bit. Addie Todd's been the keeper to come up to the midfield, so they've seen possession-based. Might be a little bit of a different story today.
ACC, SEC, Thursday night soccer from the Plex. Here we go. Florida State in the whites, white tops, white bottoms. Haven't lost in 26 consecutive games and 18 games in a row here at the Seminole Soccer Complex. That last loss coming in 22 to the Carolina Tar Heels. Georgia and the All Blacks, fresh off a 6-0 victory, have actually played the Tar Heels this season, dropped a 4-3 contest. Prior to that, they played Pitt. So this is the third ACC team Kidani McAlpine has put on the schedule for a Dogs team that was picked third in the SEC preseason polls. A lot of hype for UGA and Kidani McAlpine's year 3.
I bet they take that though with a little bit of a strain of disrespect, because these are the reigning SEC tournament champions now. We have the reigning tournament champions from the ACC and the SEC on this pitch tonight, and they have a lot of motivation behind them to try and keep it going here and want to get a good result tonight, and obviously a victory. They've played, this is their third ACC team, you said. All of them are in the top 10.
One of the good guys in the industry. Kidani McAlpine, Wazoo, USC, and now Georgia. Everywhere he's been, they've won.
And he's been to 12 straight NCAA tournaments, so wherever he goes, he knows how to get success and breed it within his players.
Florida State on the attack early, barreling into the box, couple of touches. And the drop back there to 14. Carissa Beckman. Nothing doing there for Florida State. And we talk about the success. Last season, Sweet 16, lost a heartbreaker to Clemson in penalties. They did win the SEC tournament. Back-to-back NCAA tournaments for UGA, who prior to his arrival had struggled to even get close to the bubble of making the big dance.
Yeah, it was the second time they've made it to the Sweet 16 alone. They have not gone deeper than that, so they are obviously setting their expectations and their sights set for things beyond the Sweet 16. And they have the players to do it. There's a lot of grad students, a lot of experience on this Bulldogs roster up and down the lineup, and a lot of skill to boot, especially in the attack. That's where a lot of goal scoring, a lot of experience can come from, with the likes of a Detrizio, a Hannah White, who had a brace against North Carolina, and one of the best goals I think we've seen so far in 2024. You just take a look at that production, 74% of that production back here for 2024 with the Bulldogs. A lot of familiarity.
Yeah, and that's part of why UGA has such high expectations. What a ball! Into the box, inside the 6, charging in is Jordan Brown. Denying Huff of an early opportunity. Florida State, you see the dynamic play of which they control the ball on offense.
Beautiful service by EY once again. She just knows how to find Taylor Huff a lot over the course of these past couple years that has led to some really good success. EY has really been depended upon to provide that service. Those are probably the two service women that are at their best, Huff and EY, and they're linking up pretty nicely here early on.
Brian Pensky told us Taylor Huff has got to touch the ball a lot here tonight. Find ways to get her into the attack. She's got to be creative. One of the best players in the country, 7th by Top Drawer Soccer in their preseason top 100 rankings. Preseason All-American. Has starred now for a couple of programs. She's familiar with these Dogs. Taylor Huff played for Tennessee back in the SEC, where she was an all-conference player. She really burst onto the scene one season ago for FSU and really filled in the void of losing some dynamite midfielders that Knowles had prior.
Yeah, she really just took it by the horns, essentially, really nicely. She already has a hat trick on the assists and the goals department this season. But yeah, she came out storming right out of the gates. Florida State had to go on the road to start 2023, and she did a beautiful job of establishing her presence.
There she is. Huff has a hit from the outside, blocked. Knowles continue the possession.
Had the game winner against Texas A&M in the opener, and on the service from EY. That really started to get things going. Then she really found really settled into her own there in the midfield and really did a nice job setting others up.
Nice give and go as Huff was looking for the runner. And Now what can UGA do with the possession it gets? Kidani McAlpine said we don't necessarily have to have it for a ton. We've got to be lethal when we have it. Clipped back inside, and a foul called. Professional foul from Ron Ewai.
Yeah, if she doesn't, at least engage somewhat, Hannah White has quite a freeway to at least the 18.
White.
Absolutely a foul for sure by Ewai, but it probably is for the better here. It does grant Georgia a set-piece opportunity.
It's a dangerous moment here for the Dogs. White, the Atlanta, Georgia native, graduate senior, played for Kidani McAlpine at USC a couple years ago. Last year for the Dogs, tied for the team lead in goals. Service. And not a particularly good one there. It'll go out for a goal kick. See, USC, 47 games, was trying to find her footing. And in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, last season, 6 goals, which is more than the first 3 years combined of her career.
Yeah, that'll get things done for sure. Definitely when you add more years with the same coaching staff, with the same voices in your ear, those conversations, you just grow. And Kidani just knows how to get his players, particularly his attackers, to really execute on the run, however he likes to do it. But this is a very direct team, and that kind of fits Hannah White's mold.
Speaking of direct, Florida State trying to exploit the flanks there on the left side from Van Zanten to Puerta, the freshman from San Diego. Back-to-back games with a goal for the Rook. They love what Ashlyn Puerta can bring to the table. One of a handful of freshmen that have come in right away. You got a couple of them there on the front line for FSU here this evening against the Dogs.
Yeah, so much of that production lost last season for Florida State at the top. Oni Echegini, Beata Olson, Jody Brown. Just so much of that veteran leadership that Florida State had.
Here's Hudson, 6'2", can't miss her. There in the center. Now Ewai, first time ball looking for Hudson. Just a bit heavy. Good idea from Ewai. Again, Florida State looks to be the more threatening side in the first few minutes of this contest.
Well, Hudson is such a target that you just have there's just the potential right there for her to always be in the center in that 9 spot, right in the middle of the box. And Ewai just led her a little too far. Not enough bend on that service.
Promising here from UGA, and oh my goodness. Not quite sure what the idea was there from the Dogs, that they thought they had some runners and some support into the box.
Brian Pensky loves the defensive effort of Camille Ash. And that's a matchup I'm really intrigued about tonight, Ari, is how does Camille Ash match up with Margie Detrizio? Detrizio really is a box forward, but has the capability of chasing down balls, covers a lot of ground, goes on dynamic runs. It's going to be interesting to see how Camille Ash sticks and marks Detrizio throughout the night.
You know, Trevor, Brian Pensky was intrigued by this opportunity for Florida State. You've got players missing for the U20 World Cup. Could be without them for about a month, and he said this is the first true test of the season here for our squad. With all due respect to USF, Rice, UNF, none of those teams can really threaten you in the way that UGA can. And he was wondering, with down to, 13 players here this evening, what they would be able to do against one of the best teams in the SEC in a group that has a legitimate shot at making a College Cup. Helps that you're at home in front of the boisterous crowd that the Plex always has. But Brian Pensky said, look, make no mistake, we're going to find something out about our group tonight.
Yeah, and he knew this day was coming is the biggest part of that equation, because the first few games, you can mix and toy with some things.
Georgia trying to toy with the ball offensively. Here's White onto her left foot, now the right foot. She fires, skims the side of the net. Best chance for Georgia. White had the Noles faithful holding their breath.
White has scored a couple times from this exact spot. Actually a little bit closer here inside the box. She loves coming down this left side, just turns it too much back to her left. Does a beautiful job cutting against Ewai. She is so efficient with those short cuts going laterally right to left. Just a bit off the mark that time by White, but she is certainly finding a little bit of a rhythm here in these opening 10 minutes.
Had Addie Todd beat. You could see it there if she could just pick that near post. It could have been 1-0 Georgia. White, 2 goals against Carolina a couple of weeks ago. A bright spot there for the Dogs, who Keidani McAlpine said, look, we have played well in large portions of games this season. I want to see us start better. The first 15, 20 minutes, certainly that's going to be on the checklist there as a positive for McAlpine. Now you got to keep the Noles, though, out of the net. Here's Van Zanten, nifty with the feet. Turning it outside. McGovern. Freshman from Virginia, overlapping run. She chooses to serve it into the box instead. And whipped across by Puerta. It's not going to be on frame. But again, the Noles getting the ball out wide. Service towards that penalty spot and into the 6 area.
Yeah, good attempt here by Puerta for the volley. Freshman to freshman, right from the corner. That's an excellent location, though, by McGovern. She finds it where no other Georgia player can possibly touch it. Puerta just, if she could work her way back a little bit, maybe she gets a little bit more of a direct ball on frame, but still a good attempt. And to go back to your point, though, I think mission accomplished, Aria, for the first 10, 15 minutes here for Keidani McAlpine's squad, getting some shots early on, forcing Florida State to check off or go to plan B in terms of possession and build. There's a little bit of a miscommunication there a few minutes ago for FSU of what they wanted to do and how they could bring it up.
EY, soft touch with the right foot. Shot blocked by the back line. Right back, though, to the Noles. That's Beckman on the touch. UGA and those All Blacks in the red accents. A little jostling. Physical play. Simmons, the transfer from Tennessee. To the back post. Oh, be careful. Jordan Brown, some friendly fire.
Looks like she ran into her captain, Ellie Gilbert. But obviously, as a keeper, that's your box, and Jordan Brown has made it clear this is her box, and she owns it. She also has a massive boot that can send the ball 70 yards, well beyond the midfield point.
Simmons getting the start here on that right wing.
Kira Stodd battling with Simmons and company, fighting on that left side.
Huff so composed with the ball, emerging as a leader here for Florida State in her final year. Simmons pulls it centrally, looking for a runner, not on the same page as Huff. And Taylor Huff going to have to cover a lot of grounds here this evening, playing in that withheld 6th role. They've given her the freedom, though, to get forward. As Caressa Beckman, we talk about the SEC, a lot of transfers for Florida State, 7 of them. And Beckman coming from Texas A&M.
She's kind of finding a new role for herself in that 6th spot. She's been in the 6th these first several games.
White been active here in the early going. 1v1 against EY. White on her left, cuts it back to her right, looking for support, cross down, and cleared away. Solid work by Camille Ash, the transfer from Portland. Folks might remember Portland, a powerhouse in the women's soccer worlds back in the 2000s to about 2012.
Yeah, Ash coming in with 55 starts in the 59 games she played over in Portland. You mentioned it, good pedigree with that program in the past. And obviously with what she brings, that big size as well. And I think that's a really nice counter to go against Detrizio. Stands right there at 5'10". Hannah White, if she wants to get close to the box and inside, she's 5'10" as well. So the matchup is right there. Tailor-made for someone like Ash to combat with those 2 attackers. Georgia's staying a little back here right now, Aria. They definitely came out of the gates far more active, at least buzzing around that back line. So perhaps conserving energy. Still a long way to go, obviously, in this contest. So I'm seeing Keidane McAlpine down the sidelines. He's saying, pick up the pace. Let's get this ball back in play.
Yeah, McAlpine wants to play with tempo. Both of these coaches want their teams playing fast. This is better from Georgia.
Yeah, that was a good give and go by Detrizio to Denegan.
How about that ball? Edge of the box and the finish for the Dogs. UGA strikes first. And it was Tori Penn who has the visitors from Athens up ahead. Just shy of the 15th minute.
The give and go right in the middle. Detrizio to Denegan, and then she just finds that open space. No one really closing the door in the center for Florida State. Too much open space right down Main Street, and Todd has to come out, but can't get down in time, and it's just an easy poke right through the 5-hole by Penn. And she has the first goal scored, not only of this game, but against the Seminoles all season.
Her first goal of the year for Georgia as well. And that's got to make Keidane McAlpine feel good. This is what he wanted. They absorbed the pressure, able to pick out their spots, and just a delicious ball through the center. See Keidane rocking the ball cap, by the way, from them Diamond Dogs. I bet Wes Johnson, head coach of UGA baseball, be proud to see that. Dogs up 1 here on the road. Florida State hasn't trailed this season. First goal, as Trevor said, given up all year. And matter of fact, the first goal given up by Florida State since the ACC tournament 1 year ago. The Noles went unscathed through the NCAA tournament last season. Here's EY. On the touch, 15, Peyton McGovern, freshman from Bristow, Virginia.
Now we get to see how this young team at Florida State, how they deal with playing from behind for the first time here this season. And what's that mentality? Do you keep your... Yeah, you have to imagine with the way Brian Penske likes to operate and what he preaches, they're going to keep the pedal to the metal, foot on the gas. This is a good opening stretch here in response to that goal.
Van Zanten stuffed. Georgia again on the counter. Playing direct. Another wonderful ball. Detrizio. She crashes towards the net. Her shot is saved by Todd. It'll be a corner for the Dogs.
This plays right into Georgia's wheelhouse. They are so good on counters and playing through the center. That's just a beautiful ball set up for Detrizio to go track down, and it's simply a foot race. Nice job by Wynn of actually getting there back in time and selling out to force it to be a fairly easy save for Todd. But right now, Georgia's got a lot of momentum, and they want to keep this going. No lead is safe against the Seminoles.
Keidane McAlpine loves Margie Detrizio and what she brings to the table. One of the keys to their season is what Coach said earlier today before kick. Off the corner, reservice. Nervy moments for Florida State's back line here in the last 5 minutes.
Again, there's just too much skill. I mean, compared to what they've seen in these past 3 games, these are very classy. This is a really classy attack. And not only that, Georgia's bench is really deep. They have a lot of players that when they get into substitutions, they have a lot of energy coming off the bench as well.
Denegan on the flick. Vibes are good on the UGA bench here at the moment. If you're just joining us, Aria Masudi, Trevor DeGroat, Meredith Grimm, our entire crew here from Tallahassee. A pleasure to be with you. Battled some rain for about an hour and a half. It was a monsoon, an absolute downpour that pushed this start back about 15 minutes. There were thoughts that it might be more, but credit the equipment and the field staff that were able to get the soccer pitch ready to play pretty quickly.
Yeah, field in great condition.
It is hot and muggy.
Drying up pretty fast, which is a good sign.
Feel bad. It's all drying up into Meredith on the field right now.
Luckily, the sun's going down. Yeah, we went on the field earlier, and the bugs were just all over us. Those gnats were just buzzing all around really quickly. So we hightailed it as fast as we could back up here to the booth.
Glad you and me are in here, pal. Van Zanten cuts it back to her right foot. Oh, cheeky little ball. Inside to Huff. Cuts it back. Van Zanten pokes it over the bar. Couldn't quite get her weight around to put that one on frame.
Yeah, Huff would probably want to have that one back as well. Left it too far behind Van Zanten. Van Zanten finds the space. But yeah, just too far away and very difficult for Mimi to get a shot below the bar and on frame. Georgia doing a great job of connecting passes right now. A little over the top here, but that's what you got to do to offset FSU's press, offset their time with the ball. The Noles certainly value that.
Simmons, good touch. Kidani McAlpine urging his team to close down the spaces, to press higher.
Yeah, he wants this Florida State team to feel it. He wants them to feel that pressure, test them.
Good ball, took a deflection, but Van Zanten, who has threatened on that left back side. Oh, what a move. Into the edge of the box. Van Zanten turning. Oh, it was blocked. I think Jordan Brown was beat. Noles still threatening.
I think it was Abby Uncrot. It was the last line of defense before it would have been only Jordan Brown to stop that ball.
Uncrot's first career start.
Noles starting to work their way down the wings and start looking for small little crosses into the box. And you see the great touch by Huff, and it was Uncrot who got in front to help bail out and leave Rihanna Hudson alone, go off the mark, and help provide an extra wall of defense for Brown.
It'll be Huff from the right corner flag. In swinging ball, catches the post. It'll be a goal kick.
Well, she's already had an Olympic go from that spot. Wanted to go for a double dose.
SportsCenter top 10 play. Taylor Huff, captain. 68th career game between the Noles and the Vols. For Huff, 25 career goals. A hat trick against UNF earlier this season. A whistle, foul call. Official in the center, J.C. Griggs.
Little pull on the shoulder and maybe a slight little trip on the bottom as well with the feet.
Here's Stouty.
Simmons engaging with Stouty as well.
ACC fans will know Kiera Stouty's sister Talia, who played at Virginia. Puerta, oh, what a cutback. That was nice there from Gilbert.
Kate Harden in there.
A good shot of Harden. The junior from Marietta, suburb of the Atlanta area.
It leads that Georgia team with making her 26th straight start. Great experience on this back line for the Dogs. First 3 games, they've had just a 3-person back line.
Noles not on the same page, trying to connect some passes.
And really that's just speaks to, you know, the freedom that has been allowed by Kidani McAlpine. He really values the experience that they have. Ellie Gilbert really anchors this back line. Number 16, you see her there. Being able, she's a former 6, so she's able to be aggressive, and with that kind of keeps the attackers at bay. So the wing backers, or the backliners I should say, on the wings, the outside backs can roam a little bit more, but here today with a little bit more of a back 4, definitely aware of the threat Florida State possesses.
Huff looking to pick out a target towards that back post. Van Zanten and Hudson might have got tangled there and impeded each other.
Yeah,
Stays with the Noles.
Yeah, Van Zandt went on a run, and fortunately she ran right into Hudson where she was occupied.
White again looking to play direct to DiTrizio this time, though. Margie was lying a little lower, trying to support the back line. And so Florida State recovers. Ash all the way across to Sophia Nguyen.
And Georgia now really in a low block. They're really satisfied, obviously, with the 1-0 lead.
It'll be a corner for Florida State now on the other flag.
I imagine that they probably want to step on the gas a little bit, get some opportunities. But, you know, with that 1-0 lead, I think Kidani's really satisfied with that reality right now. Trying to stay composed and really valuing the moments they have the ball versus trying to dictate the moments they have with the ball was something he really stressed in our call this week with him.
It'll be Huff. Right-footed in swinging ball. Good service. Dangerous area. Drop back. Have a hit. It's low. And stuffed there at the penalty spot by the Dogs. Out for a seminal throw. Looks like we'll have a water break here with just over 20 minutes left to play in the first half. All right, so the players are going to hydrate. Trevor and I will too. We'll be right back.
I am embarrassed to say this, but I've been using deodorant on my armpits for the past 40 years. And yet anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed a second shower, I wasn't clean, or there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. I tried it and I noticed a difference right away. Everywhere. You won't realize the body odor you've just been living with until you try Lumi and it's gone.
Laura Dantis, Gianna Riley, Jordan Dudley, all with the U.S. Marianiela Jimenez playing with Venezuela. Suarez with the U.S. as well. And Dantas with Brazil. And could be missing him until late September if either of those teams make the final of that World Cup. It's the good and the bad, right? The positive is you're uber talented. The bad news is you miss them during the season. A lot like the pro ranks, club soccer teams have to allow their players to go play internationally.
Yeah, it's an opportunity you can't pass up. You represent your country, and it's certainly an opportunity for these young players to get valuable experience when the moment comes.
And so Florida State looking for reinforcements. They've gone to some interesting areas to try and find. For more on that, here's Meredith.
That is exactly right, Aria. Reinforcement is the word of the night. After playing a second half with only a 12-woman roster against Rice last week, Brian Pensky knew he needed reinforcements. He texted Florida State's track and field coach, Matt Cain, and asked if anyone had played soccer on his team. Enter Lauren Mahan, a freshman from Clearwater, Florida, with some high school and club experience. She's sporting number 2 there on the bench. We're not sure if we'll see her tonight, but she's definitely there for the Seminoles, should they need her.
Well, at least we know she's got experience running for days. 1-0 Georgia here on the road. Florida State, 90% win rate at home since 2005. Haven't lost here since 2022. Simmons on her right foot, shot block, stays with it. Across, that ball saved! Oh, Jordan Brown, how about it? How did that stay out of the net?
Absolutely robbed Ashlyn Puerta. Beautiful job getting the gloves up just in time to her right. Excellent reaction and quickness from Brown.
Hudson flag goes up. Jordan Brown, the Las Vegas native.
Simmons getting a second chance opportunity, and Puerta just right there to collect with the right foot as well. But Jordan Brown, ever the classy professional in net, very experienced and knew to have those gloves at the ready. Those hands stay up, and those are some big mitts right there to stop that ball.
9 saves against UNC earlier this season. It's her 35th career game. Was a member of the all-tourney team for the SEC tournament last season. I guess that's just how they do it in Vegas. I mean, that was incredible.
Speaking of incredible, nice flick by Simmons on the one touch, but once again, Stouty warding her off.
Puerta looking for the through ball. Simmons turning around into a pretzel.
Wow, that deflection right there between two Bulldog defenders just screwed up the timing for Simmons to go on a run and a possible open shot. Seminoles are starting to create a little more breathing room here, Aria, trying to find some spaces and create those spaces around the 18 and inside it. Looks like Deja Tolbert coming in as a sub for Georgia.
Bagman drops it back when. Forced out wide. Van Zanten cuts it back to her right foot. Look, oh, what a ball. Inside, Florida State looking for runners and support. That took a deflection, corner. How about the danger in which Ashlyn Puerta has put on this Georgia back line?
Yeah, she's, whether she's settling in the middle of the box or going on runs herself, very skilled with her feet, very poised here, trying to make something happen and trying to set up Hudson, it looks like. She's really, I think, been one of the most impactful freshmen thus far early on for the Seminoles in 2024. Just really does a nice job of hustling, playing the ball in nicely as well to teammates.
Huff towards that back post. Couple of Knowles there. Van Zanten as well as Wen, neither able to get a foot on it. Back to Puerta. She's actually a 2025 recruit that reclassified. Hasn't even turned 18 yet.
I'm not waiting around is what she says. I want to start right now. And hey, she's proven her worth already with 2 goals and an assist. She's also on the US U15 youth national team.
Yeah, so the US circuit already knows about her. Trying to groom her into a player that could one day go to the U20 World Cup and maybe even beyond that. Florida State had Jenna Niswanger make her senior national team debut. As Van Zanten has a hit, another corner coming.
This is the pressure that Florida State is really liking right now. This is kind of going back into the old style of Florida State, building from the back a little bit, pressure, squeeze that defense back. Georgia's allowing it to happen. They like the 1-0 lead, but this is a dangerous game you play with Florida State. Especially with number 3 there in that corner spot, as accurate as she is. 4th corner of the night.
Florida State still looking for its opener to try and level. EY didn't catch it clean. Ron EY, a multi-year starter, trying to put pressure on this Georgia back line and that defense, and you already see UGA last 2 games, 2 corners allowed tonight, 4 already.
Quite remarkable, being one of those games against the Tar Heels. North Carolina doesn't like to get too wide. I mean, they really like to funnel that ball into the middle of the box a lot. Olivia Thomas certainly had a day for herself, collecting 2 goals. She's right there smack dab in the middle for the Tar Heels, as you see.
There's Amber Wen.
Amber Wen, yep, getting taped up. She was limping a little bit earlier, so she's taking some bumps and bruises here.
No relation to Sophia Wen, by the way. Looked into that one.
From neighboring states, but you're right, nothing, no relation.
And Jocelyn Nia will sub in for Wen. Georgia, a lead on the road, looking for a second. Nice run there by Chania.
Good defensive recovery by Van Zanten. But this is certainly a luxury that Kidani McAlpine has. He has a ton of depth. As you see, Van Zanten, very physical on defense. She's certainly a downhill runner on the attack, and she loves to get down the wings with the ball, without the ball. But she's proven herself to be a very feisty defender as well. A lot of fight in that 5-5 frame.
Hudson trying to corral. Oh. How about Brown picking the ball out of the sky like a UGA receiver? They play Clemson on Saturday. You ready? That'll be exciting.
Kirby Smart, if you're ever in need of another wide receiver, Jordan Brown might have something to say about that. But I don't know if she's going to be wanting to leave her post here as a starting keeper for the reigning SEC champs. Good challenge.
EY against White wins the battle.
Yeah, good challenge. Good win by EY. And Simmons pulling and tugging against Nicole Vernis.
He's getting a little handsy. Physicality increasing. That was something that Brian Penske was intrigued by. He said, how would my young roster adjust to the physicality of UGA?
How about EY going up against Hannah White? She's giving 7 inches against Hannah White, yet she wins that battle. No fear in the Seminoles.
Shorthand and Knowles down to 13 players available here tonight against UGA. I don't think that matters to the Dogs. Going down, no whistle. Still scoreless for Florida State. UGA. It was a goal in the 16th minute by Tori Penn. And as the Dogs up 1 here on the road. These are big wins if you can get them in non-conference play for the RPI. In the last couple of years, UGA's tournament run has ended on the road. They would love to be able to have the right to host. How about this whip right into the breadbasket of Brown, showing good hands. You like that separation from the body?
Again, I think Kirby Smart would approve. Kidani certainly does. But showing the range is Ashlyn Puerta. Didn't really have anybody in her sights along with her, so she sees the goal there. Why not take a shot? Gives Jordan Brown something else to think about, to be ready for.
Rihanna Hudson trying to win the ball back. Here's White. Couple of touches, drops it back. Stouty cuts against Simmons. Stouty moves it central. Clean touch by Detrezio. And it was Torbert who got a touch. Push to the back line. Here's Shania.
Good box out by Van Zanten once again. She's winning those battles against Chania.
Ash, plenty of space, she'll carry it forward. Simmons trying to find that space in that crease. Onto that left foot, has a shot blocked. UGA has conceded some space, but they've done well to close down.
This is where they really make their money, is where they will allow you to get runs. They're a bend but don't break back line. And they lock down that center very, very nicely.
Yeah, they've communicated well. Especially that center back pairing of Gilbert and Unkraut, making her first career start. Kidani McAlpine wanted to go to a 4-back system here tonight. A little 4-2-3-1. So far it's worked. EY on the cross, back post, Hudson, and again, Brown had questions asked, and she's had another answer.
Simmons does well to get this ball behind the back line to give Hudson a chance. Hudson just a little too wide. It gives Brown enough time to see that ball in, allowing Brown to get back to her right.
Hudson again. Caught offside.
Simmons, a player who's started this season, another transfer from Tennessee. Started on the back line as a sub, but has the experience as a forward from her time at Tennessee. Actually led the Vols in goals last year with 8. And with the current unavailability of FSU's roster with the U20s, this allows her the chance to come back up and provide a spark. She's certainly very capable, a lot of experience, versatility, and tenacity, as we've seen thus far tonight.
Puerta across, dealt with. It'll be a throw in here for Florida State. Amber Wynn back in. Number 9. Florida State will make a sub. That'll be Olivia Lebdowie, a junior from Panama City Beach, Florida. Simmons will get a breather. Again, Noles down to 13 overall players here tonight. Brian Pensky said, we took them off their feet during practice. Light practices, he said, we did next to nothing. Yesterday in the lead up, we'll do next to nothing before our match against Villanova on Sunday. Noles just have to find a way to survive not having a chunk of their roster available.
Yeah, this is certainly the biggest stretch while these players are away. They're also dealing with a couple of injuries right now. So this past week was a very important week to get everybody ready to go in tip-top shape, well rested, and also a chance to really talk things out, find what the best formula for us is to apply here in these next 2 games especially. And they kind of get their schedule kind of stretched out a little bit. See, there's Soleil Washington, who has got that left foot wrapped up in a boot. Might miss several games. Another sub coming in, Nina Norshi.
Take a breather. You like Norshi's game? A Ghanaian national team member?
Yeah, she's a really good engaging defender, and you're going to need that fight to show that, you know, we're not going to back down. And Norshi, although right now she's at the top, right now taking over for Hudson in the attack, so she's been on defense, but this is going to be a lot of versatility. And I think entering the season, Brian Pensky loved a lot of versatility that he has. He said that a lot of players are going to be fighting for a lot of spots, more so than the last couple of years. And that doesn't mean just in the preferred spot you're maybe at. He knew this moment was coming with the U20s. So you want to play, get out, go on in there.
It's a Florida State team, again, evaluating all its options for when they are full strength towards the middle of December. Excuse me, the middle of September, right before ACC play. And look, Brian Pensky wants to win every game. He knows that. As here's Norshi looking towards that penalty spot. Again, the Dogs able to clear it away for the time being. Oh, now a foul. On Shania.
Coming in and clipping Wen from behind. This is certainly a golden chance with the service of Huff available, as well as Ron Ely. They will both cover the ball. Wen trying to get engaged on the attack, coming from that back line.
Where are you putting this ball, Trevor?
I think you gotta maybe go far post here. Huff certainly has the range for it. Get over the top of a lot of tall athletes on that wall.
Set piece specialist. Huff going for goal off the post. Jordan Brown pushed it up against the bar. And for as good as Tori Penn's goal was, I think your MVP through the first half has been Kidani McAlpine's keeper in the net, Jordan Brown.
Yeah, she's made plenty of quality saves thus far, whether it's been right down in the center of the 6 with Puerta breathing down her neck, or this one right here by Huff going for the corner. And that height really helps saw that ball very nicely. Just the right hand is all it took, and kept the ball in play too to deny a corner opportunity. 6 saves for Brown, and they have been quality with 17 shots by the Seminoles overall
in this first half. My goodness. Listen, if you're Georgia, you just got to survive into the locker room break. Lebdowie, Eli taken away. Foot race to the ball. Nifty from Beckman, turn it back. Now Ash diagnoses her options. Friendly fire, it clipped McGovern. Georgia content to just sit in this shell. In a low block, trying to constrict space. McGovern evaluates her options. Beckman.
Well, they have such an advantage in so many ways tonight, Ari. They're the deeper team. They're a team that has the lead right now. They're a fresher team. They're the more experienced team. So they're going to rely on that experience. And with a 1-goal lead and knowing that Florida State's depleted in numbers, the longer this match goes on, that stays 1-0, Georgia's going to be fresher down the line too. So they will have the energy if Florida State cannot convert and cannot follow through with a goal here to tie things up sooner than they want.
Van Zanten, nice sliding tackle by Shania. She's staying with it. The experience there from Jocelyn. UGA wins it back deep in its half. Florida State, that counter press so effective. That is a hallmark of Brian Pensky. When you lose the ball, work rate on the defensive side just picks up to 110.
Yeah, it's not just been a staple of his. It's been a staple for this FSU program for such a long time. That is not, as far as the transitions from when Mark Krikorian was here and Brian Pensky here now, that has been one aspect that has never gone away. When you're on defense, go get the ball. Fight for it. And they work collectively too. They just get around and they cut off possible opportunities to charge and get dynamic runs up the wing, up the pitch, and then also cutting off possible passing opportunities laterally. They just know where to mark and they know where to get this to their spots.
EY carved space. Norshi couldn't catch it clean. Running on and hit over. Might have took a deflection. It did. Corner. It was McGovern charging into a ball that was spinning backwards at her.
Initial service once again by EY into the box. Norshi just has to head it down just to keep it possible in play. Didn't realize she had a couple of trailers behind, so I don't think Norshi realized who it was going to. She thought she was the only option that EY was targeting.
Another corner, Florida State towards that 6-yard box. Pressure relieved. Under 2 minutes to play in the first half.
Good veteran move by Gilbert. Staying composed, getting a slight little clearance, albeit fairly close by, to give Florida State a throw in.
UGA's had one shot on goal. It has found the net. Tori Penn in the 15th minute. And the Dogs have been holding on since. Opportunistic. They have been clinical when they have gotten their chances. 1-0 to the visitors from Athens. Florida State trying to find the equalizer right before the break. UGA has been content letting the ball get into wide spaces. They have closed things off in the center.
Yeah, they'll allow opponents to get wide on them, but it is really difficult to break them down in the center of that box.
Norshi wins the ball back. Looking for McGovern. Pass intercepted. Here's White. Shows for support. If you're White, you just want to keep the possession.
Yeah, just kind of milk the clock. Hold on to that ball. She's great at hold-up play, too.
Just booted forward. Final 20 seconds ticking off. A Florida State team that doesn't lose often, and especially not at home. After 45 minutes, Kidani McAlpine's Dogs are threatening that. And it would be a historic win for the Dogs program if they can hold on. Not so far.
Yeah, never have defeated a #1 team in program history. This is new levels of writing into the program script right there, right into the program. But yeah, Ari, I just love the initial 10-15 minutes for Georgia. It's not what they wanted out of their first 3 games, and Kidani made an emphasis on this to tell his team we need to come out a little bit faster with more energy, more gumption, and that's exactly what they did, and they got rewarded by taking advantage of a direct ball right through the middle and finding the space for Torrey Penn to just poke it right past Addie Todd for a fairly easy goal right through the 5-hole. And that was the opportunity they needed. They just sat back a little bit more after that. They know they have numbers right now versus Florida State. Florida State has the pressure on them. Florida State has to have the urgency right now. And for Florida State, they're doing things very well. They're getting the attacking opportunities. They just have to find a way to move Georgia's back line a little bit off center to see if they can find opportunities in the middle of that box.
All right, we got to hear from the head man himself. Down to Meredith for McAlpine's thoughts.
All right, Coach, how big was it to score first here in Tallahassee?
Oh, it's massive. In a game like this, you definitely don't want to chase the game with a team that possesses the ball the way they do. But we've got to be better in the moments where we can possess. We've got a little frantic, but we've got to be a little bit better. But now at least they're chasing the game, and we're sitting in the pole position.
Absolutely. Seeking your first program win over the #1 seed in the country, what needs to happen from your girls' second half?
We've got to keep defending, and to be fair, even
trouble in staying away from the engagement of Georgia's defenders. But I think it's going to take a team effort for the Noles to come away with a victory. It's not going to just rely on some individual effort. They have to work in unison in certain areas of the pitch, especially around the box.
Early foul here on Georgia. Okay, so how does Florida State exploit the middle, as you were trying to explain earlier?
I think you just have to have, I think you make a run in the middle, but I think you need a teammate close behind. So it's an overlapping run, so work off and see if you can find a through ball that kind of forces Georgia to turn their back a little bit and force to play backwards to the net. Then maybe you can cut back something with a trailing player as well. So if I think you get at least 2 or 3 players together.
Cross towards that back post. Van Zanten, a bright spot for Florida State in the first 45. Getting into the act early. Again, EY has been dangerous on service from the outside.
Of course, Florida State can also rely on that service from Ron EY or a Taylor Huff. They certainly are comfortable with this, and EY is one of the better service women in the game and has done a nice job over the course of her career setting up fellow teammates. So they can do that as well, and so long as you can get it beyond and behind that back line of Georgia, you'll find more success.
You wonder, too, if Florida State positions Taylor Huff a little more forward-facing, a little higher on the pitch.
She's got to
more into
run
that number 10 role instead of a 6 role.
Yeah, they're trying to look for it right there as Beckman worked it to the left to Puerta. But Huff had a run right along that back line.
Ash looking through the seam. Has Simmons. Simmons clipped from behind.
Good job by
Clean
Torbert.
tackle.
Torbert got all ball right there, and Simmons went face first on the deck. Aggressive tackle, but clean nonetheless.
Florida State team who has 10 second half goals so far this season.
Good double team as well. That's all class right there by
Clean.
Torbert.
Well done.
Yeah. Good touch, challenge right there to just really provide a roadblock.
The foul a little bit further down the pitch.
That's Vernus who hit it. Took the challenge from Mimi Van Zanten.
Vernus, Palm Beach, Florida native. Graduate student this season for UGA. Started her career at UF. Familiar with Florida State in that rivalry. Noles and Gators will play here coming up next week, September 8th in Gainesville. Now the Dogs into the attack. Shot deflected. It'll be a corner for UGA. Amber Wen dangerous in the attack.
Really solid, composed play by Wen. McAlpine really spoke glowingly of her as one of those players that's really stepped up. As that ball hits the side netting very close. Who's really stepped up, coming off the bench primarily, but was a 3-year starter at Vanderbilt, so she has a lot of experience under her belt, also on the SEC preseason watch list, and getting the opportunity right there with help from Margie Detrizio, making some nice moves. But I think if Georgia can continue a little bit of a high press like you're seeing right now, that'll rattle the Noles a little bit here. Got to keep the pressure on to force Florida State. You cannot allow the Noles to just walk up and down the pitch with the ball. They're too skilled, and they're going to find ways to get to the net.
Seminoles direct play intended for Hudson. FSU will retain possession. Drop back to the sweeper Wen. Van Zanten stays with FSU. Hudson on her left foot across. Oh, flag was up. That is the 3rd time Hudson has been called off.
And timing on those runs, all very critical. And Hudson, as a freshman, yeah, just a little way too far out beyond the line, beyond that back line. It's so hard, obviously. You have to time those runs so precisely. He's got to wait for that moment and just spring, but you got to wait for that ball to be passed. And she's got movement. I mean, she is a very good fluid runner for 6'2".
Brian Pensky talks about Brianna Hudson, who is the Rochester Citizen of the Year in her hometown of Rochester, New York. Said sometimes we want her to be less nice, a little bit more mean on the pitch. A young player that's growing into her own, but 6'2", moves with the grace that she does, the elegance. You saw it on display over the weekend against Rice. They love what they have in number 42.
I tell you what, when Jordan Dudley gets back, I think maybe that meanness comes out because she's going to get a first-hand look a lot more often of Jordan Dudley, the way she operates. But yeah, future bright with Rihanna Hudson. And if they do get service chances, if they get corners, set pieces, I wouldn't be surprised if they start targeting her more often, especially if this game continues the way it's going, still down 1 goal. Might be one of their better chances to find the back of the net.
Early portions of this second half, Georgia trying to hold on to a 1-0 lead at Florida State. Seminoles have looked dangerous. They've had plenty of possession, plenty of opportunities, but have not been able to punish the frame, have not picked one out of the net yet. And a depleted side. 6 players off to the U20 World Cup. And Soleil Washington also out with an injury, not available here tonight. Seminoles have actually reached over to the track and cross country team for help to bolster the benches. FSU hasn't lost in 26 consecutive games dating back to 2022. And has not lost in Tallahassee since 2022. Hasn't lost in Tallahassee in a non-conference game since 2019. Todd didn't have to do a whole lot there. Had her near post cover.
Yeah, for Todd, it's hasn't been a lot of action tonight. Very high IQ, plays with a lot of gumption, according to Brian Pensky. This is a new aspect for the Seminoles, allowing their keeper to really come out and be involved in the build-up play. Which is an encouraging sign, I guess, in one aspect, because you're still seeing similarities in the first few games, Ari, where they're still dictating some sort of pace. You know, they still have a lot of ball possession, but they have to find a way to cash in right here in the second half to get the result.
Puertas, too heavy. Chased down, though, by Van Zanten. Changes her angle. Service again. The cross cleared away. DeTrizio. All Pac-12 at Washington State. From that Kidani McAlpine tree of coaching, where he spent nearly a decade in Pullman. Said it was sad to see the Pac-12 deteriorate. Tough to see one of the great soccer conferences dissolve, but that is the world we live in these days. Conference realignment, really the monopoly, the monopolization of conferences. That cross picked up by Brown. I asked him, what does that do, though, for the SEC and the ACC? And he said it creates better regular season games, more RPI opportunities. Must-watch television in the regular season, right? Stanford comes to the ACC. In the SEC, you get Texas and Oklahoma out of the Big 12. Everyone should be prepared for the postseason at that point.
Just a lot more quality teams getting added into the mix. And it's certainly an interesting discussion to have and as the new landscape takes fold. Good block by Brelic, Sophia Brelic, to get in front of EY's attempted pass and long ball.
Georgia's been able to frustrate Florida State for much of the evening. It's Tori Penn's goal so far that's the difference. The early stanza of that first half. Georgia evaluating its options, I think, trying to find ways to maybe get a second. However, not too ambitious, wanting to protect their lead here if they can on the road, a place that has been so difficult for opponents to come in and find points.
Yeah, it's about valuing the moments and winning the battles, I think, for Georgia. And not only that, also being the more disciplined team. And that factors into, obviously, you know, how much experience, how many upperclassmen they have. They have a lot of knowledge on this team, a lot of smarts. So take that to account, especially against a young team.
Pretty good ball. Opportunity here for Georgia, looking for a second, turned around.
Good blanket coverage right there by Van Zanten coming in on the back end. Trying to feed that to Hudson. And you see Hudson, she can turn on the jets too. She doesn't have just good fluidity, she has good downhill speed. A little tangled up. I think it was Uncrout she was working against.
Pretty good ball. Oh,
Uncrout again.
what a sliding stop.
How about, you know, you touched on it. First career start. Coming in, she already has a great block in the center to deny Puerta. And a nice little cutoff right there to deny Huff on a run.
It was Huff there on the touch. Couldn't corral it. They have moved Huff a little higher up the pitch. Oh, big tackle, could be a card. Indeed, Van Zanten into the book. Yellow card issued to the left back for Florida State.
And Tori Penn gingerly walking it off. But yeah, pretty clear. Didn't get any of the ball. And came behind the ball too, so it's not like she tried to hold up to try and touch the ball. She just definitely went with a good swipe just to stop the flow of the play. But
yeah, if Penn gets in there behind, it's dangerous for Georgia.
It's also dangerous when you have Jordan Brown who can launch that ball from a free kick near midfield.
Substitution. It'll be White. Hannah White back in to the match. Tori Penn, Hannah White, stepsisters, by the way, on this Georgia team. Brelich will take a seat. Florida State looking for its first goal of the night. An opportunity to level the score and to ignite some energy here into the Seminole Soccer Complex. They've been sitting on their hands for much of the evening, looking for something to cheer about.
Georgia with a lot of comfortability right now, playing in the low block.
Simmons, cross, Van Zanten pops it back, center of the box. Shot on frame, Brown save again, diving to her left.
Brown slow to get up. She's not able to stand back up. I think she hurt herself on the dive.
Oh boy.
Oh, this could
calling for a trainer.
Yeah, this could be huge. And J.C. Griggs immediately calling time. Not sure what happened, if she got tangled up with somebody. It didn't look like it. It might have just been a buckling of the knee, perhaps, on the land.
And you see the anxiety building on Kidani McAlpine's face. That would be a devastating blow here to Georgia, not just for this game, but how good Jordan Brown is and how important she is to the complexion of the Dog season. She has been the MVP of this game so far. Just landed awkwardly after she made that save.
That was a hard strike from Cameron Simmons, forcing the dive to Brown's left, and she remains there down in net. Looks like she's getting stretched out, but obviously a very big concern right now for the Dogs.
We're going to step aside. Georgia leading Florida State 1-0 in the second half.
And Doug.
And if we win, we get to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Isn't that what you just did?
Service!
Stand back, I'm gonna show ya how Doug and Lima roll ya. You know you gotta live it if you wanna win.
Time out.
Only pay for what you need.
Jordan Brown going to stay in the match. And maybe not as bad as once feared as you take a look at the replay.
Again, hard shot by Simmons. And it looks like she just lands, and the knees kind of maybe come together a little bit there, landing that right knee down on the left. And that is obviously a lot of bone meeting bone, and that is never fun. But it looks like she is going to stick with it. So true trooper is Jordan Brown.
Florida State will get a corner. See how effective Brown is, moving side to side laterally.
I'm curious how Georgia approaches this. I mean, Kidani didn't go over to see Jordan Brown, so he has faith in her, so I think the game plan stays the same.
Whipped into the box, headed away. Back in, header. Oh, Brown didn't have to go very far. That is the type of ball you want if you're Florida State.
It goes right to Hudson. Feeds your 6'2", number 9. Big middle forward right there. Finds a way through. Does a nice job. Just a little too far outside and too square. Going right down the center. And Brown, as you said, Aria did not have to do much.
Here's Puertas trying to win a physical battle. Last to touch it, throw in Georgia.
Now, Puertas kind of been neutralized a little bit after a really good, strong showing in that first half with a few chances. Hasn't made as much noise as of late, but she does a nice job here trying to settle back in, go for those aerial balls. See if she can make a play along with her teammates. And it has been difficult.
It's a Georgia team who went 13-4 last season. Got to the Sweet 16, falling to Clemson the year before that. Second round, falling to UNC. Having to replace Croy Bethune, one of the best players in the country. It'll be looks like a corner kick coming for Georgia. Bethune getting called up into the U.S. national team camp. Was an alternate for the Olympics, ended up getting brought in for an injury replacement to Jaden Shaw, and debuted in the Olympics against Australia. Kidani McAlpine said, "Oh, I had to run to a television to watch."
Very special moment for the Bulldogs, and she came back with that gold medal. They were ecstatic to see her with it.
That one nearly finds the net. Addie Todd never saw it. And you can hear the murmurs and the gasp of this crowd. And you can see the disgust on Todd's face. She never saw this ball.
I think she was anticipating a header by White, because White was left all alone right there just at the 6, just a little outside the 6, right in the center. So she was anticipating a redirection. Late on the reaction, luckily, ball was outside the post. And Seminoles fans, as you said, Aria, can exhale with a little bit of a sign of relief, but yeah, there were certainly gasps as well.
Still 1-0 Georgia. The Dogs have looked brave so far tonight. Van Zanten, nutmeg. Looking for a push forward. Shielded off. Hudson couldn't get to it.
So again, Florida State going out wide. Trying to feed it this time in. Working their way back into the box, and Hudson just a little delayed in reacting and springing off her defender. Allowed Jordan Brown to come on up.
Backman charging into the Georgia half. Simmons onto her left, clipped away, and a deflection right to Jordan Brown. Just to put a pin in the Croy Bethune story, she gets drafted number 3 overall as well last season by the Washington Spirit, whose general manager, by the way, is none other than Mark Krikorian. Just to tie it all back together.
How it all comes together, right?
Knowles into the attack again, into the box. Shot finds the net! Guess who? Taylor Huff! We're tied here in town.
Rousing ovation for Huff. Big-time players make big-time moments happen. Good feed, long ball over the top. Finally getting behind this Georgia defense, and a great cut. Suckering that D-line, that back line in for Georgia, and it creates the space and a nice little wide opportunity for Huff, and she's as accurate as they come, far post, no problem. Taylor Huff, equalizer, and a big one for the Noles.
64th minute strike from Huff. A beautiful curl to the back post. And the captain, with her 4th goal of the season, brings the crowd to life. Level at 1. Brand new ball game here in Tally. Georgia had the lead for nearly 64 minutes. But again, Taylor Huff, one of the top 10 players in the country, according to Top Drawer Soccer. And now the energy and the momentum with the home side. How about the resilience of this FSU team?
Yeah, you can't allow them to keep on going and pressing on the gas pedal for too long, because they have too much skill. Even with a shortened roster, they still have so much talent here. And Taylor Huff is the one player right now where you cannot allow to give opportunities. You've got to mark her. You've got to find a way to take her out of the game and not let the ball come to her feet in this current iteration of this FSU team. Here she comes again.
That one a bit too heavy as Brown corrals. Brian Penske needed to rely on Taylor Huff with all of the absences and into this season. Meredith, what you got for us on Taylor?
Well, Brian Penske told Taylor Huff the heartbeat of this team. She's the only All-American on their lineup tonight. She's at the front of the class taking notes during their film session this week leading up to this game. She holds the coaches accountable and makes everyone better around her, and the Seminoles want to capitalize on that for the rest of this game.
Thank you, Meredith. Energizing moments as Todd also coming up with a big stop.
What a massive save by Todd as Tetrizio gets free. Ashen Wynn can't stick with her. And nice job of Todd making herself bigger, coming off the line. Not going to let lightning strike twice for Georgia and not let history repeat itself from earlier in the game.
After all the saves Jordan Brown made, Addie Todd hasn't been asked to do a whole heck of a lot here tonight. The one shot went in the back of the net, but Todd in the second half has given Florida State the boost that it needs. And replacing Christina Roque, no easy task. One of the great keepers, and let's be frank, one of the best keepers in collegiate soccer history, not just at Florida State, not just in the ACC. You're talking multinational championship keeper Christina Roque. Good luck filling those shoes.
Never got below the College Cup. Think about that too. And made it to a third national championship game as well.
Huff has 1 second. Brown knocks it over the board. Taylor Huff starting to take this game over.
This is what you have to watch out for from the Seminoles. When they get one goal, they are energized. They find more life. That energy bar goes right back up. Excellent space, great feed to Huff, and it took Jordan Brown to channel her inner Mr. Miyagi. Wax on, wax off with that swat away.
The pace of that ball, all Brown could really do was just redirect it over the crossbar. And so Huff has ignited in the last 10 minutes. Corner for FSU. Huff swinging it in, pretty good ball. Headed away, foul calls. As the keeper Brown went down. How does the goal change things for Georgia?
They have to change things up. They can't stay in this low block anymore. I think you have to take it right back. So when you saw Tetrizio get free like that, those are the moments you take advantage of those moments, and you have to bring that fight right back to it. You can't just sit back now and just let Florida State build their momentum of what they did. This is what they did all of last year, Aria. They scored so many goals in the second half last year. It was an incredible discrepancy in terms of the goal margin. And they just charged themselves so much last year, and Florida State will feed off of that. You know, sometimes, you know, coaches will say it's a new team this year. We're not looking back at last year. Well, you can still take traits and trends from last year that can build into future success. Florida State's second half performances last year were second to none, and they were so dynamic, and they fed off of goals if they scored in those second halves and kept that momentum going. So you've got to engage, and you have to keep things up if you're Georgia. Force the issue.
Florida State team that really turns the octane levels to turbocharged when they start feeling themselves. 10 goals already in a game this season against UNF. Broke the ACC record last season. Still threatening here. Hudson tried to drop it back, couldn't get to it. It'll be a throw coming for Florida State. You do wonder, Florida State, not a lot of reinforcements on the bench. Does fatigue start settling in as the Noles haven't been able to substitute a lot?
Well, I think if you're Georgia, this is something that's in your favor. You have numbers. You have fresh legs on the bench if you want to use them. So if Kidani McAlpine and his staff notice someone that may be struggling a little bit, if they see their stamina or their energy depleted, you know, don't be afraid to go to your bench. Find a difference maker who can stick with other Florida State players, because right now it is all leaning right now to the Seminoles.
Ryan Pensky said, we're a program that wants to wear people down. When I asked him, what's the biggest difference between your program and Mark Krikorian's, right? This is the first year. Looks like we'll take a water break, but this is the first year it's really his roster in full. The hybrid players aren't quite there like they were. He did the best that he could with those players. However, this group looks as threatening as ever. 1-1 hydration break in Tallahassee. Back in Tallahassee, 1-1. The point on Brian Penske's program, he said, I'm a guy that has taken full control here. I feel comfortable in my role. Although, I gotta be honest, a college cup and a national championship, you could do worse with another guy's players. However, this year he said, look, I don't have a lot of mottos. We don't have a lot of rules. Be a good person. Show up to play every day. I want the players to set good examples for each other. And then, tactically, we're gonna wear people out. We're going to have numbers. When we get our depth back, we're just going to come at you in waves.
Yeah, they obviously work hard. They take a lot of pride in some of the foundational things of being as good as you can be. He's a player's coach. I mean, he really values putting his players in the best position, feeding what they are strong at, and obviously stamina, being as well a conditioned team as anybody out there in the country. But you're right, Ari. I mean, it helps, when you have, he was definitely given keys to the kingdom, but he's told us for the last couple of years, I just didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want to rupture the momentum and the tradition and the pedigree that this program has obviously possessed. Over time, he can sprinkle that in, and now he's at that stage where he can do it. It is fully his program, and it helps when you do win a national championship. And he said, it gave him a sense of calmness and confidence now talking to them more. Before, he relied on the players, in that first year especially, that one came off of winning a national championship. Let them go do their thing, continue it, run it back. Now, when you sprinkle in some players that he brings in and is recruiting as well, that has weight now, especially with that national championship. He's not chasing it himself. As if he kind of, spoke to, they're more of the authority figures in the past because they won it. They already have achieved that success. Now I have achieved that success, and now I can be more settled in. The words mean a little more for him as opposed to aspiring to achieve that ultimate dream.
And you see the way that his offensive attack has just kept this Florida State program at an elite level. All those streaks continuing. Knowles looking for a second. Norshie into the game now. A JUCO All-American.
Gilbert is the last line right there. Lepdowie would have had a great look at net to challenge Brown. Yeah, you're right. That makes it 38 straight games, scored a goal for the Noles. Trying to continue that unbeaten streak now as well.
36 goals last season in ACC play. broke the conference record. I mean, just punishing and ruthless. That FSU team was a sprint through the NCAA tournament. No team really tested them. Stanford gave their best effort
with just one goal.
And Florida State just destroyed them in that national title game.
Yeah, Stanford was the only team to get a goal, but by the time they got it, it was well out of range.
Huff, another shot on frame. Although that was in the center of the net. And Brown not having to go very far.
Yeah, might have to check the iron levels inside of Brown because she was a magnet for the ball right there.
I see what you did there. Van Zandt racing against Detrizio.
Well, she's proven to be an iron woman tonight. She's already taken a couple knocks and been really tough in net.
On her left foot, Todd gonna let that one trickle wide. Georgia trying to keep legs fresh. A little over 17 minutes left to play. Substitution came in.
Looked like Tori Penn coming in for Chania.
That 31 back in.
So you got that goal scorer back out there. But again, Georgia's not really having an aggressive press.
Well, the Dogs now have a front two there of Detrizio and Penn. And trying to connect something.
And one player we haven't mentioned too much tonight is Summer Denigan. She's kind of been taken out of this game, hasn't had chances attacking.
Lebdowie finds some space, crosses it back. Van Zandt to her right foot, deflected, corner coming.
Gilbert once again staying in that central role.
How good is Van Zandt coming through the box like that?
She's as good as it comes as a cutter and just as a heat-seeking missile right down in. She just reacts, sees the space, the ball's right there for the taking. And she just jumps on it when she sees an opening. Another corner opportunity for the Noles. This makes it 8. As you see some substitutions coming off. Lebdowie, Norshi coming off, Simmons. And it looks like Puerta as well back on.
Huff, right-footed, in-swinging corner coming. Pretty good ball, popped into the air, another foul called.
Camille Ash can't believe it. This is another time where she's getting called off of a corner kick. JC says, nope, I see a foul. Another in-swinger from Huff. Not sure what it possibly could have been. Maybe just because the referee sees Brown go down that there must have been some contact to obstruct, but looked pretty free to me.
Ash dropping it all the way back to the keeper, Todd.
Now here comes a little bit more forward press from Georgia. They're mixing that look a little bit more.
Force the direct play forward. Beckman. Huff. Knotted away. Hudson. Greengrass ahead. Hudson 1v1 to her right foot. Trying to get a shot off. Was that deflected?
She was forced too far to her right. Didn't have an angle as Georgia collapsed the box very nicely. Hudson really had to work fast to track that ball for a chance.
Loose ball. Corralled here by UGA. And then Detrizio's pass to White. A little bit too much mustard. UGA looks a little tired as well. Both teams have given tremendous effort.
Yeah, they just haven't had the quality of stringing together some passes as much as they did in the first half. But again, they've been fairly content playing D. Good release by Denigan here to get on the ball.
What can the Dogs do in the counterattack?
A poor pass. as Van Zanten quickly worked her way back.
Poor touches, Puerta. Not expecting it. Got her feet tangled. Beckman knocked down. Foul calls.
And there's Denegan knocking down Beckman pretty hard. Fans really want a card. Not going to get it.
Quick play from Florida State. A quick restart. Simmons looking for Huff.
Good job by Stoddy. Saw that Simmons was trying to work to the outside for Huff.
Now Huff finds some space, cuts it to her left foot. Shot saved. Kick saved by Brown.
Great cut again by Huff.
Service. Hudson pops it to the left. That's not going to threaten Brown.
Take a look back at the foul as, Denegan's not playing the ball. She attempts maybe to look at ahead, but really just runs right into Beckman with it, and just a beautiful job once again. Hard shot. And again, Taylor Huff working those cuts, stop and shoot moments that proved effective in her goal tonight, trying to repeat it. Great flick.
White on her right foot, looking for a shot. Skims the near netting. Todd seemed pretty comfortable with it the entire way, let it go.
That big brain working right there for Todd. But a good job, great skill by DiTrizio really to make this opportunity happen for White. White just off target. Todd understanding she'll get the goal kick if she doesn't engage with that, knowing it's on the outside of the post. Georgia once again utilizing their numbers. They have them to get fresh legs back on. Skidani, McAlpine again stressing a sense of urgency to engage. Stay in your lanes, lock things down. Come away with a result.
Tough service. Was looking for Hudson.
Yeah, Gilbert once again. Just a lot of veteran experience right there from Gilbert. Marking the tall Brianna Hudson. Understands the game, understands where that pass is going. Very intelligent player, really settles things down there for Georgia.
Talk about a Georgia team picked third in the preseason SEC. This ball, Brown again read it well. Florida State picked first in the preseason ACC poll. Dudley, Gilchrist, Huff, all preseason, all ACC members. And then all starting the year #1 for the 4th time in the last 6 seasons. Foul called on Florida State. Georgia might quick play it. They do. They reset quickly. However, a point back to the spot of the foul might have been further back than where Georgia tried to reset.
And Georgia again, they are a very quick strike team. They like to get vertical very fast, catch the opponent off guard when they have the ball. Goes right into their wheelhouse, feeds into the strengths of DiTrizio, White, Denegan. They're very strong going downhill.
White didn't like what she had in the box, drops it back. Ooh, what a poor hit. And now FSU getting numbers forward. Puerta to her left foot. Clears some space. Simmons from that right side puts a shot on. Brown again. 9 minutes to play.
Beautiful right glove save.
Hudson, Simmons. Now EY. Towards that back post off the top of the net.
First the save. Simmons again with a hard shot. Not too difficult for Brown, but needing to leave her feet to make it happen. And then EY going for goal on the lofted ball. Tough to do to get underneath the bar and over Brown, but a nice chance for the Seminoles again as they continue to apply pressure to Brown in this back line. As Mimi Van Zanten getting stretched out, might be cramping slightly. You said, Ari, it's a very muggy night after the rain that we saw before this contest got underway. Of course, it's still summertime here in the Sunshine State. Of course, what can Georgia do to flip the script a little bit? Still subbing a little bit here. They could provide the difference. Give them good energy. Wow, what a rattle of a collision that was with the ball to Van Zanten off the attempted long ball by White. Sounded like a pinball machine.
Any of these Noles going a full 90 tonight. A gutsy effort from a shorthanded squad. Ranked #1 in the country yet again. After the national championship in 23. Big tackle, foul calls. Will there be a booking as well? It looks like the answer is yes, as EY gonna get the yellow. How about some friendly Summer Denigan helping out a former teammate in Ron EY stretch out?
It's good sportsmanship.
It's been a hard night for everyone.
It really has. Yeah, EY does obviously get a piece of Denigan. I don't think it was ill-intended. Yeah, that ball just kind of skirts underneath EY's foot. Not sure if it warrants a yellow card. Probably
that's a harsh yellow.
It's a hard one for sure, but
yeah.
It definitely draws a foul. Not sure about a booking, but here's a golden chance for Georgia to shatter the hearts of Florida State potentially. See just the explosion of Denigan, though, gets rewarded for that effort in a roundabout way, getting closer to net. They have a pretty good look right now if they can get around the wall of the Noles. A lot of build up on the other side of the 18 as well if she wants to try service or go direct.
Vernus and Denigan. It will be Vernus, the captain. On frame save time. Pushes it to her left. A throw-in will be won by Florida State. Got to give Addie Todd her flowers here tonight. She's come up big.
Yeah, she's really come up strong after the first goal allowed. Come up with some quality saves. This is probably the best of the bunch. Working to her left, Vernus going far post. Very accurate shot going for the location. On the low corner. But Todd really doing a nice job gliding and stretching to make the save.
Addie Todd, 4th save of the night, 3-time All-State performer in Colorado at Columbine High School. Also a swimmer in her prep days. Had committed to Oklahoma, and when the coaching change happened over in Norman, she opened her recruitment back up and decided to play for Brian Penske's Noles.
Another non-call the FSU faithful don't exactly agree with.
Both teams now just trying to find the ball.
What a knockdown by Mimi Van Zanten. Hannah White was going really wide down the right side.
Todd asked to play with her feet. Ball given away, going down, no goal, and they're gonna stop play. Is it offside?
Flag was up.
Flag was up.
Wow. Almost a nightmare scenario.
JC Griggs had many decisions to make.
Yeah, Penn came in charging hard, colliding with Camille Ash, which freed that ball up in the box as we take another look. So Ash works the ball back to Todd. DeTrizio pressures, and Ash just makes a poor touch, not realizing that Penn is charging down. She just runs right into Camille Ash. Takes a hard knock. Luckily for the Noles, my goodness, that could have been disastrous here late in this contest.
You've seen plays like that given a foul in the box. At first, I thought advantage was given. I thought that's why the referee had continued the play. However, flag had gone up.
I gotta say also, Aria, gotta love Georgia's pressure and and change of pace here in this final part of the match.
Pushing towards the end. Here are the Dogs in the box. Shot is saved by Todd. On the attempt from Patrizio. She found herself all alone. Things are picking up. We now have 45 combined shots here tonight in the game.
Yeah, Georgia's really up in that total here late. Denigan, once again, slides, loses her footing, but has enough quality right there to find Patrizio. Not in her intention, I don't believe. Patrizio takes the shot. Todd in great position. But Georgia, I think, really emptying their gas tank right now, knowing that Florida State is probably at the end of theirs.
Both teams going for the win.
I just think, you know, Georgia probably has a lot more boosters potentially with the amount of numbers and fresh legs compared to Florida State. Many of these players, of course, with how thin their benches have been out there all night.
Huff finds a pocket of space on the left side. Huff dancing around, trying to create an angle. Onto her left foot, Huff blocked. How about the 1v1 defending? Now Van Zanten.
Yeah, Kate Hart doing a brilliant job there against Huff.
And Van Zanten, I think, just trying to do a bit too much.
Yeah, just look at Hart doing a nice job forcing Huff, not biting on the fancy footwork, and doing a nice job. Great slide tackle too, kind of clamping that right foot down like a guillotine, just swiping down to the turf.
I mean, that's excellent 1v1 defending by Harden. She has been strong so far tonight.
Honestly, this entire back line for Georgia has been very strong. You knew the pressure was going to come on. At some point, the Seminoles were going to certainly value the possessions. They're going to get chances.
Cutting forward. Here's Huff. Sliced away. Van Zanten. McGovern looking for Hudson. Back post area. Shot put on. Blocked. Simmons on the attempts. 3.5 to go. Georgia trying to survive this wave of pressure. Give and go.
Good
Beckman.
connectivity.
This is good stuff from Florida State. Final pass intended for McGovern was clipped away.
That's as crisp of a quality passing as I've seen from Florida State, in close range proximity all night.
Huff into the defensive third. Here's Huff. Solo run from Huff. Shot saved. Guess who? Jordan Brown. 14th save for Brown here tonight. A career high.
Unreal. Unreal. First, great connectivity, combination play right here, setting things up for the Noles. Good give and goes right through the center, but needed to work it out to McGovern, who has got free. But then look at Taylor Huff taking on all comers. And Hudson, unfortunately, stopples right over Ellie Gilbert to draw another whistle. That'll go the other way. And what a fight this has been, Aria, all night long.
One of the best teams in the ACC against one of the best teams in the SEC. It has lived up to the hype.
Both conference champions from last year, representing both conferences really strongly.
No doubt about it. Florida State won 3-1 back in Georgia in 2022. This, the return of the home and home that was agreed upon. And yes, Florida State's missing some key players. Do they have any magic left? Foul there. Stop the clock. Card will be given. Yellow issue.
Card to Gilbert.
Smart foul.
Yeah,
Huff
any threat this
was
late
headed for damage.
Yeah, any threat this late in the game, you've got to stifle. Yeah, just a little bit too far behind. I think that was Torbert, actually, who was called for the foul.
A little over 90 seconds left. Could this be the last quality opportunity for Florida State?
Looks like they're going to give the card to Denigan.
Will EY play it into the box? Nope, short for Huff. Overlapping run. Huff will carry forward, looking for a through ball. Oh, Knowles not on the same page. None of the runners made a run.
No one released and got off a marker. trying to make a play, a little bit of confusion to make that happen. So missed opportunity for the Seminoles here with just under 90 seconds.
I think a night like tonight highlights how much the Noles miss a player like Jordan Dudley. Right there, the number 9. A true striker, as good as Huff has been. Noles have made the best with what they've had. Can they get a result out of this yet? 1:05 left towards the back of the box. Georgia
Great spot.
seeking the late dagger.
Great spot by Van Zandt, keeping composure, seeing that ball come to her head and send it back for a clearance.
Huff carrying it forward. Looking for help. Clipped out from behind. Clock stops. Yellow given.
This time Furness takes out Huff. The Dogs are just selling out. They do not want Huff to be the difference maker. They don't want anybody to be it, but especially not number 3. Furness just comes right in from behind. She kind of actually gets the ball pretty nicely in all honesty. That's actually a fairly clean tackle.
That's a pretty good tackle.
That's not bad.
Pretty good tackle, but whistle given. So with 48 seconds,
Wow.
This is in prime territory for a set-piece goal.
Oh my goodness.
And the Noles are going to give it to no one else other than Taylor Huff.
They still have EY covering just in case they want to mix things up, but you got to imagine Huff's the one to take this shot if she wants to go for goal.
The All-American stands over the ball. 48 seconds in a 1-1 game. It'll be Huff. Oh, she airmailed it. Helium in the ball, and Georgia will survive.
I think if you're Georgia, yeah, you slow walk this if you're Brown, although clock has stopped as the substitutions will come in for the Dogs. Giving one last effort, one last run. It's Amber Wynn and Sophia Brelich fresh off the bench. Could they be a difference maker? Brown can send this long too.
37 seconds left. Huff nods it forward. White. Georgia trying for one last opportunity. Instead, Simmons now into the attack. Simmons with the clock ticking. Simmons on her right foot. Puts it across. Save. Kicked out of bounds. Corner. Florida State's got to hurry. Desperation attempt here for the Noles. One last Hail Mary. Huff. Delivery. At the death. Headed away. And that's how this one ends. An excellent ball game tonight. 1-1 between the Noles and the Dogs. Depleted, undermanned, but Florida State remains unbeaten, and that streak extends to 27 consecutive games.
What an effort by both sides. An incredibly entertaining game. Both teams fighting to the bitter end. And Georgia can take some solace in snapping Florida State's 18-game winning streak at the very least. But I gotta say, Aria, this is definitely, I think, an emotional victory for Florida State, knowing that they came in from behind. They're depleted in numbers right now, and to respond the way they did with the leadership of Taylor Huff and everybody coming together to push that forward and to still have the pressure that they have dominated with, that they have identified with for all these years, is a really strong sign for things to come.
Florida State pushed to its limits. They find a goal in the second half to earn the draw. Taylor Huff